Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're talking about volume pots, and I had a request from a viewer, and they asked me if I could show how to change one. And I thought, yeah, we can do that. And I remember back in the at the beginning, for me, I had no idea, excuse me, how to change a volume pot. Didn't know how they work, what wires were connected to it, and all that sort of stuff. So let's look at them. So I've got three there, but what is a pot? It's a potentiometer. We just call it a pot, and it's nothing more than a resistor, which is variable. So each pot has a resistance value. It could be 5k, 10k, ohms, 50k, 100, 500, a meg, 2 meg, whatever. And all we do is, as we turn it, we're either, depending on how we've wired it up, fully counterclockwise will be full resistance, whatever the value of the pot is, and clockwise, we're lowering the resistance. But as I said, that depends on how you wire it up, because you can also have it work in reverse, where fully clockwise is maximum resistance, fully anti-clockwise minimum resistance. We'll show you how to do that. So let's measure them. How do we measure them? Let me get my multimeter out there. Alright, start with this one. And always got three terminals. Always. That's one thing they have in common. The middle terminal is always your output. People call it the wiper. And because there's a little wiper inside there that goes left and right. And so that's output. So that means that the first and the third, one's input. Actually, they're both inputs, as I said, depending on how you wire it up. But let's measure this one. So, put your multimeter, set it to resistance, check in ohms. One cable on the first terminal and one cable on the second terminal. And there you go, 935k, 1 meg, close enough to 1 meg. And it's rare that a pot is going to be exactly the value that's printed on it. So yeah, that's close enough. That's a 1 meg resistor. And now let's measure and see if it's actually working. So I've got it anti-clockwise, and that's full resistance, 935k. So I start turning it clockwise, and that will drop. So the old digital multimeter reacts the way it does, of course. It's not a smooth graduation down, but now we've gone from a meg down to 120k, 130, whatever. So now, as I said before, it depends on which way you wire it up, right? Okay, what if I measure it from the third terminal? Where are we? In the fully anti-clockwise position, I've got 91 ohm. Now if I turn it fully clockwise, that'll go back up to, well, this one's over a meg there. So there's a bit of a difference between that terminal from the internals on that. But anyway, it's a meg, as you can see. We're fully clockwise. We're normally, let's just say, full volume. Well, in this case we wouldn't. We'd have to turn it fully anti-clockwise. So both of those terminals are inputs, as I said, and it just depends on how you want your pot to work or how it's done in the circuit. So that's that pot. And I mean the on-off switch, once with the on-off switch, works exactly the same. Measure it. And what's this one say? 200k, that's what that is. And might as well measure this one. And that's what? Yep, a meg, 0.985 meg. So cool. Alright, one other thing, and I was lucky to find this because I don't have them. Some pots, you'll notice, they've got a fourth terminal on them, and there always tends down to be down the bottom there. And what is that? And I've heard it called volume contour, and they use this in some radios, and all it does is it adds bass at lower volumes, so quite low volume, and you just got a bit more bass. Why, I don't know. Anyway, that thing is tapped at a certain resistance value. It could be tapped at 30k or 50k, I don't know. The question arises to go, oh look, you know, I've got one of these in my radio, my radio, and I've got to change it, but I don't have one with the extra lug on it. So what do? Well, you either buy one, search for one with the correct value, whatever the resistance is, with that volume contour on it, or, as I've done and a lot of other people have done in the past, you don't worry about it. You just change it with a normal pot without that. So the wire that goes to the tap, I just shrink it, put some shrink over it, insulate it, and leave it, because I don't really need to have volume, more bass at lower volumes. All right. One other thing. I've heard people refer to the input as the high end, and when I first said that, I thought, well, you're not explaining to me what the high end is, because I don't know. And all that is, it's simply your input there, right? So that's the high end, and which you can determine. I mean, if you want your pot to work full volume no volume anti-clockwise, full volume clockwise, then that's always your input. That's your high end. And we can look at this radio here, which I've got on the bench, and I'm just working on. No big deal. It's just a Chrysler 11.7, and nothing to show on this one. It just worked. So here's our volume pot, and this is probably the simplest configuration you'll ever see. And there's our input. It's coming from there, goes into the pot. There's our output, and goes through the rest of the circuit and comes out the speaker. And the third terminal is earth, and that's typically what you're going to see on a lot of radios. Excuse me. Bloody cold's coming back. And depends on the circuitry, but sometimes you'll find that there's all sorts of extra little things, or wires and resistors, you know, attached to it. And simply, if you've got this setup, this is dead easy. And what I always do, pardon me for a second, had to get some nail polish. So what I do, whenever I change a pot, because I don't want to forget what I've done or make a mistake, I just waste time. So I'll just put some colour on that, orange there, and orange on as to where it goes on the pot. And, you know, pick another colour, whatever. So in this case, blue there. And really that's all I need. But, because I can be anal sometimes, and I might put some green on that, and some green on that one. So I'm not going to be able to get it wrong, and when I go back to rewiring it, so that pot comes out, either I clean it or I replace it. And if I were to replace it with this one, easy peasy, orange is there, what's that, blue and green, orange is there, blue in the middle as the output, and green there for earth. And yeah, simple takeoff. I mean, this one in the Chrysler, a bit hard, you've got to get a little spinner in there and undo the locking bolt. Just unsolder that, grab your other pot, put it in and resolder it, and it should work. Now, most of the time, pots do work. Occasionally they completely fail, and or they produce undesirable sound effects out of your radio. But most of the time they just scratch a lot. So we've got to clean them. So let's look at cleaning them. And mainly, usually you've got 3 lugs, holding lugs, 1, 2, and the third one's there. So you just get a tiny little screwdriver, just lift them up, Right, you can mark them if you want to, but there's only one way this thing can go back properly, and that's, yeah, where is it? There. So now we just pull that off. That's not too bad. And there's the guts of it there, and as you can see, there's the wiper, and it's connected to that middle terminal. So we're going to clean it, easy peasy. And I should have had this by my side, but I didn't, and found it. So contact cleaner, whatever brand you use. I mean, I'm currently using this one. A friend of mine gave it to me. So boom, bit of a squirt, and just rotate it, clean it up. Typically I'll let it dry, and if I'd have taken this one out of my radio just to clean it, what I would do, after I'm sure that it's reasonably clean, I just grab myself 3 jumpers, and again just make sure we got it right. So red, oh, whatever colour jumpers you use. White is my output, and yellow would be my earth, and I would just jumper these up. Pardon me. And I would just jumper it in, bang, to the red, to the blue, and that to the yellow to the chassis. So really simple. And then turn the radio on, and then work my volume pot. And if the crackling's all gone, put the cover back on, put it back in, and solder it all up. And guys, that's pretty much it. Yeah, got it on the right way. That's pretty much how you do your volume pots. Now, let me actually, I'll actually change it. I'll pull that out. So I'll just get the just soldering iron on, and we'll get into this. Okay, I'm ready. I've undone the locking nut. It wasn't easy, I'm telling you. And all we've got to do, let's change it. So we take the first one off. Oh, get the second one. You're off. And the third should be able to. There's a wire attached to it as well, which is going down to the tone control. Okay, give me a second, I'll get that out. Alright, got it out, just piddly. And let's get our volume pot out. And locking up, of course. So there it is there. And I'll tell you what, let's do it again. Let's clean it. Might as well. And they all seem to have these little tabs on there. And they can be difficult. Off you go. 4 of them. And lucky last. Right. And off. And there it is there. So again, you know, just squirt and then just rock it back and forward. Clean all the crap out of it. Alright. And get that on. Hopefully you can get it on right way, which ain't that way, but it is, sorry, it is that way. Eventually you get it. Right, okay, I'll just bend those tabs back over and seal this thing up. Just give me a sec. Don't give me a second, just, yeah, I'll just use some screwdriver to push them down. And then just try to flatten that little tab as much as possible. So there you go. Nice clean volume pot. So now all we do, yep, and in this case, after a bit of stuffing around, got to get the locking nut onto the shaft, which I will do off camera because this. Sorry, you can't see. Yeah, I've only got a tiny little bit of room in there to get this little thing in. So yeah, I'll just persevere with that off camera. Okay, that volume pot's in. So all we now do is the reverse, of course, and we just pardon my arm. We just solder this up. Get that. Hopefully get that wire in there. There we go. And that little earth wire for the tone switch. That's alright. So again, lift that up. There's my blue wire, which is the output, signal output, voltage output, whatever you want to call it. And here's our input, the high end. And there we go. Job is done. That's how easy it is. So again, it depends on the configuration of your particular radio, and there could be more junk under there, you know, like attached. And I've seen a bunch of resistors and capacitors attached to that. That might not even be earthed. That might have another wire that goes on there. Essentially, just mark your wires. I use colours, just much easier, and corresponding to the terminal on your pot. Hey, it doesn't matter how many wires are there. If they're all colour coded, they'll all go back to the same spot. Alright, now there's one more thing I wanted to show you, and changing the value of a pot. Now what we can do with pots very easily is reduce their value. Say you needed a 500k pot, and that's what was in your radio, and all you've got is one spare 1 meg pot. Alright, can we bring it down to 500k? And the answer is yes, we can. Okay, just turn the multimeter back on, and boom. So you go, yeah, I need a 500k pot. Well, I got a meg, so again we'll just test that, and yep, so it's meg. Right, and the thing about resistors is, and remember, that's all it is, just a resistor. If it's, didn't tighten up the base of it, never mind. If that's 1 meg, and I get another 1 meg resistor, so two 1 megs in parallel equal 500k, brings it down by half. So two 10k's in parallel, you get 5k. Now if you had a 50k and a 20k in parallel, well, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but there is a site on the internet. I just type in into Google, what is it? Parallel resistor calculator. Anyway, it comes up, and you just put in whatever value, how many resistors you want. Usually, for me, it's only 2. 50k, 100k. It calculates what the value of those two resistors in parallel will be. So, but of course, dealing with the whole figures like this, 1 meg, another meg, and let's just put that on there. What we do, grab your 1 meg, put it on, connect one terminal to the one end of the resistor to the one end of the terminals. Let's say your third terminal, and the other end of the resistor to the first and you can see it's gone down by half, so that's now a 500k resistor. And this way, and if I just take it off, yeah, no touching, yep, goes back to a meg, and there it is. So that's how you can bring your volume pot down. Raising, I did see a video of a guy that did it, and he opened it up and he was scraping, gently scraping, what was it, either the where is it there, either that face of it there, or yeah, I think it was. Anyway, yeah, I just thought to myself, nah, I'm not going to bother doing that. So, yeah, I mean, you might want to look that up on YouTube. Really not sure. But anyway, guys, so that was the last thing I wanted to show you. And that's it. That's what I do with volume pots, and they're generally pretty easy. And again, if you can get as many spare parts as you can, get them. Get old wrecked chassis. They're going to have volume pots. And most of them just work, you know, and they might just simply need a clean. So anyway, I hope you found that interesting. If you didn't really know much about them, it adds some knowledge into your head, and they're really, really easy to deal with, usually. Anyway, as with everything, problems do ensue. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. I've babbled on too much, and I will catch you all again very soon. So bye-bye.
In time, you will come to regard me, not only with respect and awe, but with love.
Never